sober at work.
Dude, what are you talking about?
He will not come over if he has to be sober here. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what'd you do? Turn it on?
Yeah, I turned off the left and right channels, which is the top part, and it fell off.
Gotta get the thing back up.
Then the crib notes. Alright, admit we're not them. Pretend like I don't remember that guy's name for the fourth time. What else?
Just do the wait. What are we talking about? That was.
I know
good.
what I'm doing. I'm saying what y'all are doing.
This is the scripted. This is the scripted one.
I'm Urkel. I got one line, and I'm gonna steal the show.
You're the breakout star, man.
What's his face is back now, though.
JLL?
No, the dad.
Oh yeah, he's doing the Geico commercials. All right. Welcome back to the One Star Podcast. I'm here. I'm Tragic Bronson, 420 or 69, one of the two, and here with my co-host.
I'm Twin Cities DC guy, and I love the podcast. I think it's the best podcast of all time.
Oh, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah,
Exactly.
every episode's a banger.
I'm very tempted to just like keep pretending to be these people because they're pretending to be us. So why not?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome though. It's
Yeah, I was kind of because I expected all this had to happen. However, I did not expect people to be like, "Oh, I'm actually them." I'm like, whoa, you were not a part of my plan. But then it happened, and I was like, you know what? Keep going, keep doing that bit. We're excited about it now, but we have taken all of your comments,
Yes.
and we're going to go ahead and this week we're going to take the show off.
What comments are you talking about?
that we're gay.
Yeah, we're gay, and apparently we're going to be sent some mail.
Oh, y'all are gay, and y'all are getting some mail.
We're going to get some mail. Some of it
No,
might be a
we're
little
all gay.
explosive.
The subreddit has had sex with all of us, by the way. I don't know if you knew. You probably
Yeah.
get tested.
Wait, what?
This is the business side you didn't want to be a part of, Malcolm.
We got asked them out by the subreddit. We got a train running us by the subreddit.
Oh yeah, we basically did a human centipede with the subreddit.
Listen, we got to build a fan base somehow.
Yeah.
But this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and
Is
take
that the
this week.
digital Weinstein?
We're going to go ahead and take this week off, and we're going to just try to come back with something better and something more fun. Hopefully you guys will like that. But for this one, we've just decided to go back to the old show and put together some of our favorite clips, the things that the thing that we like the most. You know,
And we're gonna honestly, I think, give you what you guys want. Like, you guys don't want us. You
yeah,
want the old show.
You want the old show. So that's what we're going to do. And we'll see you hopefully in 2 more weeks with something better. But with all that being said, without further ado, the only time you'll ever hear me utter this phrase, ladies and gentlemen, come town.
Hello and welcome back to Feminist Podcast Come Town, where you come every week to get a feminist perspective on being in a same-sex relationship with your father.
That's right. I'm your host, Julia Claire.
I am Kate Willett.
And I'm Katie Halper.
We actually, Julia's name used to be Katie as well,
Mm-hmm.
but we had to change it because KKK, pretty offensive.
Yeah,
right.
So
Pretty
we
offensive.
made her do it. Yeah.
That was actually my username on JDate.
Was
I'm not actually kidding though. I don't know if I can break character. Like literally KKK Katie because there's that song Katie.
oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty problematic.
And
Wow.
I mean, I didn't realize it unless I was being like subconsciously self-loathing Jew / I think I just really resent online dating and like by jewelry or by anything, by any tribe. But yeah, it's pretty like subconsciously passive aggressive.
Did you have sexual intercourse with anyone? Or I didn't mean to actually
Like ever in my life?
No, off that app. I didn't mean to
know.
actually center penises in our discussion here. But,
Oh yeah, problematic.
Yeah.
I did not have penis penetrating sexual intercourse with anyone I met off of JDate, which is probably good because I don't know what kind of curated men I would have gotten with the KKK Katie thing. But actually, I did get some people who didn't notice it.
Wow.
I don't know if I'd remember the song. My grandma used to sing that song. Wow.
It's just Katie.
My grandma was pretty problematic.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the song is actually problematic. Katie.
Well,
I mean,
Katie, that's
it's not.
Katie, that's where
That's
you're.
problematic.
That's actually where you're so wrong.
I feel
Right.
like Katie, I mean, it's implicitly making fun of people with a stutter, which is extremely
That's
ableist.
true. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
own that.
That's
I'll own that.
really
Although,
ableist. And honestly, Katie, I'm just you're off to a really problematic start, and
Yeah.
I'm feeling like a little unsafe.
how can I like, I totally hear that and I want to like honor you and hold the space for you. So how can I repair that violence? Like, is that even a possibility?
I mean, I don't know.
I'm just feeling, to myself, like I'm feeling really gaslit right now because
Yeah.
my my lived experience of this conversation is that we came together and we were supposed to record a podcast, and now this has sort of been hijacked by your guys' like
By
really intense aggressive energy towards each
Right.
other,
Right.
and it's just I'm also feeling unsafe.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I was trying to speak my truth. And I guess what happens is if you're a woman with strong ideas and also like, I didn't really want to go there, but like as the only Jewish person in this group, I feel like I'm getting some kind of problematic anti-Semitic silencing of me,
Wow.
which is deeply grounded in the trope of the loud Jewish woman. So I'm just going to put that out there
Okay.
and let you guys like, I'm just hoping I'm giving you that I'm leaning into the trust that I have of you guys, that you'll actually, of you women, that you'll actually like just consider, like
Right.
you don't know what you don't know.
Right. And you know what? I also want to hold space for your claim that, or your implication that I'm maybe being anti-Semitic.
Yeah, my truth that you're being anti-Semitic.
Your truth, of course, yes. And you know what? That's some internal work that maybe I have to do in my subconscious, maybe some transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what that means, but I will report back.
Yeah, just check in.
Yeah.
Just check in and check out.
Yeah.
And
Okay, I'm going to actually call you both back in right now because as a bisexual woman, I'm just really feeling like the analysis of the power dynamic in this situation isn't particularly intersectional, and
Right.
it's just like there needs to be space for my horniness
Okay.
towards other women in this
Right.
conversation. And this is like really kind of killing that for me.
Okay, well, as a queer woman who is also sex negative, I think that I'm ultimately the most marginalized person in this group, and so
like definitely outside of the context of a concentration camp, you would be. But like
Yes.
once we broaden the horizons to Auschwitz,
sure, yeah, and you know
it's a
what?
game changer.
You know what? Nobody thinks about that. So
I mean, some of us do because some of us like can't help but think about
Right.
it. We were raised in that,
Right.
but I definitely would love to have the privilege to not imagine that I'm in Auschwitz every minute.
It's for me, it's just like I just feel like no one's really holding space for the fact that it's been a really rough day for Italians. I mean, Andrew Cuomo literally came out today. Literally, he did it, and he was like, "I'm not perverted. I'm Italian," and I'm really tired of the stereotype that my people are just, eating spaghetti and sex offending. And it's like, this is just, this has been a lot. Like, I'm going to need to like sort of take some time to do
Unpack.
self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unpack all
Right.
this. Yeah.
You should like take some kind of like deep, like marinara sauce, like bath. Like where you just kind of like bathe yourself in marinara
I mean-
to kind of like recenter your culture and reclaim that culture.
okay,
marinara sauce.
Was that problematic? I thought I was being like really supportive.
I mean, it is problematic, but it is also a thing that I did with my polycule last week. So,
Right.
you know,
maybe people don't know that I knew that, so that's why
okay.
it was. Yeah, that's, Julie
You're
didn't know
allowed
that I knew
to say that. Yeah.
I'm allowed to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in solidarity, I will bathe in a matzo ball soup, so that because I don't want you to think that I would ever imply something for you that I wouldn't also be willing to do to myself or for myself or by myself or of myself.
Okay. Well, we're all, you know, we've established that we're all willing to do the work. Is everyone feeling complete? Is everyone feeling safe?
I'm feeling safe. I'm feeling like this is a space where women are supporting women.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love supporting women. Although, I don't really want to say just that I'm supporting women because it's I don't know.
Women with a Y.
Yeah.
That's how
Right.
I choose to
Wow, that's,
identify, by the way.
that's
I know
pretty
it's really
turfy.
old school,
Yeah.
but I know, but I'm reclaiming that mostly because I don't like the patriarchal alphabet. So I feel like putting a Y in there is actually really disruptive in ways that it doesn't get credit for. And in terms of feeling safe, I just want to do a quick body scan for 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's exhale.
I mean, you see, I wish I could exhale, but unfortunately, as a Jewess,
Right.
which is a term that I've reclaimed also, we are constantly, all we want to do is exist and, on land that had some people living on there, but they all wanted to leave.
Right.
And all we want to do is feel safe doing that. And we don't feel safe. I feel like there are people who would prefer that my people didn't exist on top of their homes.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this. And I assume that you were talking about Girl Boss in Chief Israel herself.
Yes. Exactly.
I'm actually kind of feeling like we need to decolonize this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Israel's not just so you know, Israel. I can send you an Instagram about that.
Thank you.
Israel is not actually settler colonialism.
Honestly, thank you for calling me in on that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my cats are
Your cat is triggered.
My cat got super triggered. My cat went to the safe space under the bed, and my other cat followed her under there because he's not respecting her boundaries. And I've tried to call him in several times, but he's no. He's just he's toxically masculine. My cat is.
That sounds like that's actually a crime you need to interrupt.
Yeah.
Do you need a minute to go under the bed and...
Well, I mean, I spend a lot of time under the bed. I've already been under there for 10 hours today, hiding from Republicans and stuff.
Right. And from being, all these guys talking about cancel culture all the time.
Yeah. Cancel culture, not real.
Not real, yuck.
No.
I just want to say I was this many years old when I learned that Kate Willett was okay, being complicit in a sex crime.
Wow.
I mean, look, they're cats, but I'm allergic to them. I don't particularly like them, but I just think it's really problematic to kind of swipe that under the bed, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's I don't know. I'm struggling with this. I'm reckoning with this because it's am I using my human privilege to dictate what they should be doing? You know?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, to me, it's you shouldn't have to be reckoning with this. Is it okay that I'm playing a totally passive aggressive person? Is that throwing everything off?
No,
In
it's
improv,
fun.
You're not supposed to
We love it.
Okay. So I wish I'm torn because I half admire you for struggling with that, but I also think it's kind of almost pathological that it has to be a struggle. Why would you even have to wonder? And I'm just saying this from a space of love and support and curiosity, no judgment. Just wondering where your humanity is when you can't tell whether or not you're imposing your human privilege over cats.
I'm going to have to dissect that. My human privilege runs deep.
I can't believe you just said dissect because that's really triggering for animals. That's a process that they
pretty violent.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
I think that we should take a step back and examine our own language and just make sure that we're not inflicting violence on one another with our words.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about canceling myself. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you should let either Julia or me cancel you. Like that would be the solidaristic thing to do.
And honestly, as you know, the person who is not Jewish and therefore has more privilege than Katie, I would defer to Katie on whether or not she should cancel you, because ultimately that's not my place to speak for Jewish women.
Right. No, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that, like, every now and then you guys are able to, like, see past your Goyish privilege.
Right.
So I just want to, like, celebrate you for a second.
Thank you.
And I'm going to just check in with a 2-second body scan. I think we don't need to cancel Kate, but I do think she's on notice.
She is on notice, and
my human privilege runs deep. I mean, it's like in everything that I do. I can literally never get rid of it. I'm just there's just layers and layers and layers of this that I could spend my entire life working through, and I would still, you know,
there's an
I would still
honesty to
feel
that.
entitled. I think to being, for example, the one who sleeps in the bed and eats at the table. Just like my cats are just beneath me or whatever. So I mean, I'm reckoning with this. I'm really reckoning with this. It's hard.
This is a really important conversation, and I'm so glad that
Definitely.
we're getting it on the air, because there are so many people who just need to hear this. We are, as I do want to acknowledge that all three of us are white, and therefore
On stolen land.
on stolen land, and therefore we have privilege. We will not be inviting anyone else to comment on that, but we do want to acknowledge that we are white women on stolen land. Thank you.
White hyphen Jewish.
Well, right.
Ashkenazic, not like Mizrahi, which really I have to claim my white Jewish. I've not claimed. Sorry, far be it from me to claim it. I have to acknowledge it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with white hyphen Italian because my ancestors, they were white but also very trashy. So yeah.
I'm just gonna stick with white because
you're tall. I understand.
I'm tall.
You're tall. You're good looking.
Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I'm sorry for objectifying you.
No.
I mean, I find that let me return the space to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that, as a society, well, Kate, thank you for saying that you think that I'm good looking, but we have to acknowledge that as a society, we prioritize, white Eurocentric features, which I have.
I kind of feel like you're being homophobic towards me.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's like really.
Right, that's true.
My lived experience is that like I find you attractive, and
and you're not allowed to because you're a woman.
Right.
Like you're not allowed. Like it's almost as if this toxic masculinity should be relegated to the male
gays
realm.
Yeah,
and gays, of course, not gays and straights.
I just still feel bad that my one cat is looking at my other cat with the male gaze under the bed right now.
Well, maybe, I mean, are you maybe like denying the other cat's agency? Like maybe there's like gender, role play, like they're being subversive.
Oh, that's true. My cats are doing BDSM. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, you're so cute. I'm so sorry for kink shaming you.
And they are, as far as I know, brother and sister. So we have to hold the space for that incestuous relationship.
Yeah.
Because, on the, coming back around to, is it okay? Is it
okay to be in a same-sex relationship with your father?
dad? Yeah, exactly.
I can be in a same-sex relationship with your dad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in fact, sometimes that's how I identify. Like some days I wake up and I'm like, I am a man dating Kate Willett's father.
Right.
That's how I identify.
Like,
I actually think that might be going on with my dad. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, there's there's something called trust and HIPAA.
Like crisis daddy Andrew Cuomo says, I'm a Jew. I am a Muslim. I am gay. I am black.
Right. I'm a woman.
It's just
protecting her reproductive freedoms.
This is upsetting because this was like a hard day for me seeing someone cancel gay Muslim man Andrew Cuomo.
I know.
It's like
it's a hard day for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, as he is a Jew, he's a woman, so it's hard over here too.
He's a woman seeking to control her body.
That's right.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And
That's
nobody
right.
can prevent him from identifying that way.
No.
And he's a woman seeking to control other women's bodies and cupping their breasts.
Right.
You know, that. So, like, whereas I actually really feel for him because I think a lot of people mistakenly cast that as sexual harassment as opposed to a kind of like, I'm going to go old school again, but almost like my body, my choice, our bodies ourselves kind of orientation where it's really much more about owning the feminine space that is your own body when you're Andrew Cuomo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
true.
right? I think like I've been wanting to say this for so long and no one else will go there.
Right.
Even though I think it's honestly, I think for some people it's like on the tip of their psyches. For other people, they're just too like their view of the world is too gendered. But I think that if we all look back and took a step and kind of like stepped outside of the patriarchal cis normative lens, we would see that what Cuomo was doing was actually pretty beautiful. I mean, it was a rejection of so many paradigms.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the whole thing that I feel like this discussion about Andrew Cuomo has missed is like, you know, there are so many men out there that are, you know, grabbing boobs and butts, and all of them are culturally appropriating Italians, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that Andrew Cuomo, like, I mean, he's just... You know, he's living his truth. You know?
Okay, well,
Right.
you know, as the least ethnic woman in this triad, I do have a different lived experience in which no one in my family has ever even hugged. So I find any touch to be violent and offensive.
Violence, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I feel like you're actually in that you're less indicting Andrew Cuomo than you are your own kind of Christo, puritanical, sanitized family structure in which intimacy is so frowned on. I almost feel like you were calling yourself out and normalizing Andrew Cuomo. And I'm reckoning with that and reveling because I don't actually know where I come down on that. I'm going to have to like check in later about this, but I'm getting like all sorts of feelings in my body that are just... There's something that's like just not okay with that.
Okay.
But at the same time, when I look at it through like a Combahee River collective gaze, there's something really redemptive.
Redemptive. Okay.
That totally makes sense.
Right?
I'm not lying. It makes sense.
I don't know that I would ever normalize the way that Italian Americans express affection and intimacy, but you know what? That could be subconsciously saying something.
I was going to say you'd never consciously normalize it, right?
course.
That you're almost actually proving my thesis because that would be kind of like definitionally impossible, right?
Yeah.
So the very premise of my thesis is that it would be subconscious, and yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
I
to
have
me,
get in
like,
there.
my whole thing with Italians, like, if I think about the reason that Italians face so much hate in our culture, you know, it's because they're always, like, making the spaghetti and, like, you know, eating the pizza. And it's like, okay, that is,
Like,
you know,
really
it's,
hard.
people are just really, like, so quick to body shame anyone for eating carbohydrates. And I think that we need to normalize carbohydrates again, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
How could we do that though? Like, I feel like it's so that it's almost like imagine a world without racism. Like, what would that even look like?
Maybe we would all be eating the pizza or making the spaghetti. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm also calling into question my own complicity in anti-Italian violence because I've been eating pizza and pasta my entire life. And is that like cultural appropriation? Should I seek an okay from the Italian Americans in my life? Or is that turning you guys into a monolith? Like, I don't know how to repair the damage I've done because my consumption of pizza and pasta has been pretty... I mean, it just speaks to the non-Italian privilege I have that I have never even thought about how problematic it was.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about, like, you know, like, everyone is kind of not, you know, not aware enough of their Italian privilege. It's like, you know, people just go around, you know, reading books and stuff, and they don't.
You
think,
mean non-Italian privilege?
Yeah, non-Italian privilege. Like
Right.
people just go around like doing things that like Italians can never
Use a lot
do,
of your
like
brain.
like reading books and like
Right.
you know.
Like more cerebral things,
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
am I like, is that,
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything about Italians not being cerebral.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
like,
mean, but
is that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's like, like as Italians, okay, like, we're not, we're not able to do things like,
we can't put together furniture.
yeah.
That's not a stereotype. That's my lived truth.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't want to. I want to hold space for this conversation because it's so vital to our understanding of each other. But on the topic of, Italian Americans who have been just unjustly vilified, I do think that we have to discuss, girl boss in chief Nancy Pelosi. Speaker
Well,
of
I
the
just
House.
want to,
Mama Bear.
before we get into Nancy Pelosi for a minute, I do just want to, complete this conversation really quick. That I will say,
Can you thread the needle?
yeah, I'll thread the needle because, like, I feel like a lot of the reason that people feel all right making fun of Italian Americans is because we kiss our relatives right on the mouth. And ultimately, we live in a culture where most people are not bringing awareness to the topic of being gay with your dad, which is why we do this podcast.
Right.
Everyone loves to kink shame. And yeah.
And you know what? That stops here today.
And now.
Yeah. We celebrate all love, including same-sex relationships with your father.
Yeah.
Right, because that has really been excluded from the
Discourse.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think you can call yourself intersectional and kind of gloss over the those kinds of relationships.
I mean, I ultimately, I think that we'll see a future where potentially everyone is in a same-sex relationship with their father.
That's right.
with your father. I'm sorry. I'm really attached to the idea of it being with your father, but that's just because of my own that's like my personal lived trauma, my intergenerational trauma.
Yeah. It's like how I feel about, being in a relationship with your mom,
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Honestly, if I'm going to be able to if I'm going to interrogate that on your end with your dad, then I have to actually, I have to walk the walk. I can't just talk the talk.
I mean, it's like, I think one thing that never really gets discussed in comedy.
Unpacked.
Obviously, people are bringing a lot of new consciousness to, the various ways in which comedy can be a tool of the oppressor. But yeah, we have people just dropping your mom jokes all the time. I fucked your mom. Your mama was so.
I mean, I actually dropped your mom last night, which is funny.
Well, I mean, it's like, the thing is
mom jokes.
What's wrong with having sex with your mom? Nothing. Love is love is love is love is love. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have 12 bumper stickers that say that.
And honestly, I do feel that the LGBT plus community has become,
the LGBT community, D standing for your dad.
Your dad. Right. Well, I do.
QIA.
Right. And I do feel that the reason why, the D is not a household name yet is just because of the really corporate and sometimes violent infrastructure that the community
Bill
has subscribed to over the years.
Yeah. Who doesn't want you to be gay with your dad? Capital One.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Who does want you to be gay with your dad, though?
We do. That's why we started a podcast about having a same-sex relationship with your father.
Dad. Yeah.
It's time to normalize it. It's time to stop the kink shaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So do we want to move on to the Nancy Pelosi's top girl boss moments?
Yes. I think
that sounds really...
It sounds so good.
Sounds really juicy.
Okay, Julia, what's your fave?
Okay. There are so many because she is, of course, the queen of shade. And she's just done so many, incredible girl boss, just acts of defiance. Like the time where she said, this is just one of them, the time where she said that the Democratic Party should welcome people who are anti-choice. I think that was a girl boss moment, to actually like reclaim the idea of women not having ownership over their body. I think that was really brave of her.
And yet simultaneously be inclusive of
Right.
women who do want to
like-
have ownership of their bodies,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Wow, I'm just actually, as I'm saying this, I'm just like so uncomfortable with the word ownership. I feel like that is like
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
it's
problematic.
really, yeah.
Like,
That's,
Yeah.
it
especially
is
like as
slave
white women,
master rhetoric. Yeah. No, I get
I feel
it.
like it
which
just
is only
like,
okay to use in a same-sex relationship with your
with
father.
your dad. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I don't think an interracial same-sex relationship with your dad, though, lends itself to that. Like, I think we have to be really conscious and aware of that. And I think it speaks to, like, a strong white privilege that exists among same-sex dad-on-child relationships.
Yeah.
So we can't look at gender without looking at race. And if you do that, you're, of course, not truly intersectional. And I feel like if Kimberly Crenshaw were here, she'd be really triggered.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's not here and she's being gaslit because, like, you don't need to be here to be gaslit. You know, like,
oh my
God,
God,
that's
we've
so
it's like if a tree
true.
falls,
Yeah.
That's
if
so
a tree falls and no one hears it, doesn't make a sound. Well, what we don't know that, but what we do know is that if you gaslight someone, they're not here, they are gaslit.
Katie.
Yeah,
And it's-
I mean,
it's-
if I think about it, really, by saying that you have to be physically present or at least in communication to
ableist.
be gaslit, I mean, that's a form of gatekeeping. So
Yeah.
And ableism.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's actually interesting that you didn't see right away that it was ableist. I think you may want to like just reflect on that and see what that brings up for you, because you may find out a lot about yourself. But yeah, gatekeeping too. Ableist gatekeeping, which is actually a very hard thing to do. I learned the hard way.
Oh, well, look,
not everyone is physically able to gatekeep, and we need to make space for that.
we need
awareness.
to make space for
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to say, I want to
They're
thank
gate nudgers.
Right.
Gate nudgers. Yeah.
Katie, I just want to thank you for calling me in on the language that I didn't realize I was using that was problematic. And you know, again, that is my privilege, blindness as a just plain old white woman, white, comma, in parentheses, nothing.
Okay, but when you call yourself a plain old white woman, okay, that is ageism, old.
Also,
okay,
blind. We're doing some more ableist language.
Yeah,
with blinds,
and plain,
but,
it's like you're
yeah.
not acknowledging your hot privilege.
Oh my gosh.
Also, there's like the plains and like Native Americans, and that's
And we
also
are on
like
stolen land.
we are on stolen land,
Yeah.
which includes plains. So I'm just again like I'm really, you know, it's a fine line to walk, because I want to congratulate and I want to like salute your guys' efforts, but I also don't want to be complicit, and I don't want to cater to assumptions. So I'm just really reckoning with that. And so if I look checked out, that's what it is. So, you know, sometimes I may need to like go for a walk. And sometimes people are like, why aren't you in front of your mic and camera doing a podcast? And they don't realize that they're actually being really ableist, because that's the way I have to let off steam sometimes, is I have to walk around and like, you know, like chocolate sometimes is like required for me to feel better. So I feel like really naked and exposed right now. I'm sorry. I don't know if that was too much.
I actually really love when people are vulnerable, you know?
Okay, great.
It's like,
Thank you. I needed to hear that.
Girl boss Brene Brown, you know, she's like really been so inspirational to me. Like that is, I mean, ever since I like found her work, I've just been crying at all times. In front of everyone.
Because if you're not crying, you're not paying attention.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so true.
I mean, except if you're mad, then sometimes it's okay to not be crying when you're outraged, or even
like if
outraged
you're like yelling.
crying. Yeah, if you're yelling, then that's okay, unless the person that you're yelling at is not a straight white man. It's only okay to yell at them. Yeah.
In which case, you should be yelling at yourself.
I mean, really, are we living in an age though where, I mean, in terms of like yelling, you know, I've been operating like it's only cool to yell at straight white guys, but are we kind of like are we missing something? Like, is it time to examine as a culture of whether we should be yelling at more white women? cis white women? Yeah, I don't know. These are the really tough questions. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think the Karenocracy has really complicated that, and it calls on all of us to really check our white privilege
and be yelling at all times. Yeah.
If you're not yelling, you're not paying attention, and if you're not yelling at white women, you're not paying attention to other things.
You're complicit.
You're complicit. Your silence is complicit.
But if you are a white man yelling, if you're a cis white man and you're yelling at a white woman, then that is
violence. It could be a Karen. It's violence unless it's a Karen intervention, and you are like bearing witness to someone else who's being Karened, in which case you're actually being an ally.
Yeah.
And in which case you're not yelling is violence.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, Katie, this is why I find our conversations so valuable. Because,
illuminating, valuable, and thrilling.
Again, you opened my eyes to so many things. Oh, there we go using using
it's okay.
ableist language
you know what?
again.
Look, we're everyone. We all struggle, and we're not born with this vocabulary. And again, I just want to salute everyone and sun salute everyone.
Oh my God, Katie. Sun salute. Wow. You're doing cultural appropriation right now. Yoga.
Well, actually, I meant SON salute because I'm actually centering the male same-sex dad,
the male son
relationship. So I was talking about sun salute, SON. But I think it's interesting that you kind of projected your own fetishization of the East. I mean, I would really love for you to take a look at Edward Said's Orientalism book, because I think that like that opus could really help you, because you haven't done the work that like Julia or I have done. And I say that I don't know if Julia's read Orientalism, but like she's read it. You know what I mean? Like you may not have read it, but you've read it. Right. And Kate, I don't mean like, okay, now that I'm saying this, look, I have to look at myself because I realize that there's so much history of Italian as, I mean, you said it yourself. I think I said cerebral, but I was picking up what you were saying. And I just realized that like, it is problematic for a Jewish person to ever accuse an Italian person of not having read something. So I want to like apologize to you.
Thank you. That really means a lot to me. I accept your apology. I don't know that I necessarily feel safe, but I do accept your apology. I mean, I want
to thank you as a Jew because Jews as like, you know, before, let's say 1948, the threatening Jew didn't really exist in the collective consciousness, the discourse. So I actually feel like you are saying something really subversive by suggesting that an Italian, I mean, you are speaking to both an Italian, you are basically blowing up two stereotypes, one of the feeble Jew and the butch Italian. So I just think that like, it's one of those things where once you start dismantling one system of privilege, like once you start blowing up one stereotype, you really disrupt the entire paradigm. And so you're doing more work than you even realize. Like you are challenging Italian phobic things and Jewish anti-Semitic things at the same time.
Thank you. That's actually, that's a big part of my purpose. I really appreciate that.
Well, now I can see that. I mean, I didn't, like if you'd asked me about you 5 minutes ago, I would have said like cancel Kate. Yeah. # cancel Kate. I actually scripted the tweet. But now that I realize like you're just, I don't know.
My thing about like how we're just like saying that we're going to cancel people is just like canceling isn't a real thing. It's not. Like cancel culture is not real.
It's not real.
At the same time, we need to do it to everyone. So it's just
not real. And like, it's not real. And I think we should be like, literally like, so I just want to lean into my culture. And as you guys probably don't know, there is on, Passover. So there would be X's on the non-Jewish households. And that's something I really kind of want to lean into. And cancel culture is not real. And for that reason, I think it's really important to find the home addresses of problematic male writers and just put an X in front of their house. Because that, I believe, if I'm remembering my culture correctly, that's so that the angel of death doesn't stop by. So wait, sorry, maybe we put X's on everyone's house, but the the toxic male. My point is, I think we need to prove how, if there were cancellation, we wouldn't have to do this. But because there's no real cancel culture and there's no accountability, we actually have to do that.
Yeah,
So,
I actually prefer the term accountability culture.
Accountability,
that's important to me. Yeah, let's just use that from now on.
It's, it's facing consequences for your actions,
yes.
Yeah.
Totally. Give your money to
Sean King.
women or women identifying Sean King.
I mean, I was
Sean Queen, actually. Sean Queen.
like a year ago, I would have been all up, like saying, like, everyone, give your money to Planned Parenthood, but they were not willing to give my cat an abortion. They said that they only do humans.
Well,
which
was
is
that just because of their, like, did they just not have the like, were they literally unable to unpack the appropriate toolbox to mix metaphors? I think maybe they just didn't have the
I think it was
you
a
can't
gross
undo the
display
master's house with his tools.
Yeah, I think it was a gross display of human privilege.
Yeah. I mean, and to be fair, even if it wasn't because of that, their lack of sensitivity towards that basically is the same thing. So it's either gross insensitivity or it's actually worse, and it's catophobia.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I have to struggle with that as someone who's very allergic to them and doesn't find them cute.
Wow.
But I've been really working
This is really,
on it,
I'm really glad to hear that you're working on that, because I do find that language pretty specious.
Right.
And, that's just the kind of thing that we're not really about here on the show.
Right. And
this is a show about being in a same-sex relationship with your father.
With your father, yes.
True.
I want to call myself out and I want you guys to really hold me accountable to this, but I credentialize myself because I have such a great relationship with dogs.
Wow.
And I kind of, I use that to almost like justify my troubled dynamic with cats. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because I get along with dogs and I center dogs and I'm in a really intense relationship with a dog, Bodhi, that doesn't mean I know the dog experience, and that certainly doesn't mean I know the cat experience.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that we humans don't realize this, but there's a lot of like intra-animal divide and conquer stuff.
Okay.
So like my being such a dog ally actually kind of pits me against cats.
Oh, okay.
To me, it's like all animals are, equal, as long as they're vegan. My cats, they have to be vegan,
Or else what happens?
Or else they're doing violence.
They're doing violence. And yes, are they technically malnourished? Yes.
If they're, the vegan ones.
The vegan ones, yeah.
But their bodies, their choices.
Yeah, if you're not malnourished, you're not paying attention.
That's right. And honestly,
if you're not,
but not in
yes.
like a body shaming way.
Right.
We're not
if
that
you're
kind of
not,
podcast.
if you're not malnourished.
Oh wow!
See how close malnourished is to
Wow.
mal. You see, it's like that. Like history just has his in there.
I feel like
human has man.
Malnourished. I don't know. Like to me, that feels like a joke that I did not consent to.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. That was just like.
Yeah.
And
I'm a survivor, and I'm going to say that we need to stop this right here. And I need to feel safe, and I think we need to return to Nancy Pelosi's top girl boss moments.
Let's like be grounded.
Yes,
okay, totally.
I think
the body keeps the score. Yeah,
that's right. We do need to ground ourselves in something right now, and I think
in Nancy Pelosi's top girl boss moments.
In Nancy,
we need to ground ourselves in Nancy Pelosi.
That's right. Yes,
which I did to both of your moms last night. To be fair,
absolutely, and that
which I would say
that's sex positive. Ultimately,
it's sex positive.
It's so sex positive. Yeah, and I would really invite you guys to not deprive your mothers of their sexual agency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, at the same time, like we're not depriving mothers of their sexual agency, but at the same time, like this is a podcast that centers the experience of being in a same-sex relationship with your father. Sometimes we can't talk about everything at the same time. That's okay.
There's only so much time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's okay. We're all
and
doing
like
the work.
There's a
we're all
rich
approaching
culture
it from
of your
different
mom
angles.
jokes, and not of your dad. So we are. This is reparations in a way.
Yeah.
This is same-sex relationship.
Okay,
with your
I don't
parent
even know how to
reparations.
go there. Wow.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why it's like when you have sometimes I don't mean to sound like cisgender, like cis normative, but I do feel like having like three women together like unlocks a lot of there's like a lot of untapped chakra that comes from 3, the power of 3.
I mean, this is ultimately just a community of women supporting women by canceling each other.
That's right.
You know? And that's what we love
by
it.
holding each other accountable.
Oh, yes,
really.
by holding each other accountable.
They want us to say canceling, but
that's
really
not what
an
it
attempt
is.
to, that's not what it is, no.
All right. Nancy Pelosi. No, that's a woman that I never want to face consequences.
I mean,
and she doesn't.
Because
is what's so great about her.
She doesn't, and that is a slay. That she never faces consequences for her actions. One of them that I loved personally, I thought it was so funny when she called the Green New Deal the Green Dream or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and just to clarify, like, the or whatever is not Julia editorializing. It's actually, she's called it the Green Dream or whatever, end quote. End quote. Yeah.
My only problem with that is that I will agree that was an absolute slay for Nancy Pelosi, but, you know, was she...
Who were the victims?
Who were the victims, ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, was she...
No,
was she throwing shade to a woman of color? You know, should we be celebrating
women of color, a whole squad?
Yeah.
It was squattist,
right?
Yeah,
she was squatting,
right, and
on their space,
right,
on stolen land.
But at the same time, it's confusing because she was also throwing shade to Ed Markey, who is a white man,
and a white man,
right? He's a
white man, yeah, a cis white man, yeah. Who's transitioned, by the way? He transitioned because he was not always progressive. He was a much more centrist, but he now progressive identifies. And I mean, you know, it's a little late in his career, but like, who am I? We can't hold people. That's a ridiculous thing to say because there's so much pressure to be centrist. And like these days, younger people like will come out as progressive younger and younger. And that's great. It's like really controversial and we need to hold the space for that. But who are we to judge people? Not everyone is as like it was raised by accepting families and things have changed and he's older. So I just want to like welcome him. And
I do, of course, want to hold space for our cis white male ally, Ed Markey.
Right. Politically non-binary.
He's not allowed to define himself as an ally, but we can define him.
But
that's
we
right,
are,
girl.
Yeah.
But yes, ultimately, Nancy Pelosi was throwing shade at him as well. Looking, you know, snatched while doing it, I'm sure. Also, I loved when the numerous times when she said that she is not a fan of Medicare for All and thinks it will never happen.
Yeah, can I just ask a question for everyone who's out there and a fan for Medicare for All? Is that going to end racism?
Wow, that is such a good point.
Yeah.
It's not going to, you know what? It's not going to end racism. So like, why bother?
So why?
I mean, if it's not going to, if Medicare for All is not going to end racism, then Medicare for All is actually
tacitly racist.
Yes. Tacitly racist. Wow. I mean, I would almost say overtly racist.
I mean,
somewhere between tacit and overt.
We can't just be giving cis white men medical care.
No.
Right. I mean, that's what, and ultimately when you do things based on class, what you're doing is, you know, whether it's Medicare for All, minimum wage, we all know that, you know, most minimum wage earners are straight white men of significant means. So
that's right.
When we, you know, unless you're like micro targeting and like micro threading that needle, you're really not going to be challenging any systemic oppression.
Right.
So,
wow.
Right. Anyway, I'm sorry. I totally disrupted that. Like if I were a straight white male, you would totally want to cancel me for that interruption. But I think that maybe like, I'm really appreciating that you are holding the space for my taking the space as a Jewish woman.
I mean, as a Jewish woman, it's really like, you know, I'm just trying to live, laugh, love, and listen, you know?
You now Jewish identify?
As a Jewish... No,
you were repeating. I see.
Like,
right.
For like you as a Jewish woman, I'm trying to live, laugh, love, and listen to you.
Right.
You know.
I see. Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead.
You should get your girl, by the way, Joy Behar, who is not Jewish and engages in cultural appropriation.
Wow.
She's Italian, and that's really we're not happy about that.
This is really.
She's in Jew face. She wears Jew face. Yeah.
This is
not okay.
This is really shocking to me. I had no idea. I'm not I mean, and honestly, this is my problem, that I haven't been really keeping up with the discourse of The View. And I had no idea that Joy Behar was not a chosen woman. And that is really problematic for both her and for me. And that shows what I need to work on.
Right. That you weren't attuned to that.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and say that my favorite Nancy Pelosi girl boss moment was when Pelosi said to Donald Trump that the wall is like a manhood thing for him, as if manhood could ever be associated with him. Because, when I think of the way that undocumented people are treated in this country, I immediately go to like toxic masculinity. I mean, that is the problem.
Yes. And that's why she's the queen of shade, because she just looks at a really complex issue, and instead of making a complex analysis, she just does
I feel like the only person that I...
Yeah, totally. Which actually, literally, every time you do that, part of the wall is eroded.
Right. I mean,
and
did
5
women build the wall?
undocumented people come in.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Just saying. Right. Well, sorry. I have my own, but keep going. Because I'm just like, I feel really invited, called in to share my own Pelosi moment, but I don't want to.
That's all we want for you. Please tell us.
Well, I really... Yeah, maybe we can cut some of these in, by the way, the audio, because that would be just like so good to like bear witness to what she said. Let's do it. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I listen to it every morning when I rise and grind.
Also, it's like trigger warning. We are going to hear, it's like one queen references another queen. And also, of course, we haven't even unpacked the monarchist implications of that terminology.
Right. Okay.
But, we'll do that. Like, there's only so much we can do in one show.
10 states, as I said, on Friday, started their early voting the day that we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. We have a responsibility. We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
It's an amazing moment because what she's doing is she's literally interrupting and disrupting the male voice, not just the male gaze, but the male voice. And Good Morning Sunday Morning, a lot of people thought that was kind of like incoherent, but what that really was is a really deeply feminist, kind of Virginia Woolfian use of language, a rejection of the patriarchal linear narrative, a kind of postmodern, free association, nonlinear disruption. Good Morning Sunday Morning. She's like challenging just the very chronological, logical, normative narrative that we hear usually, like just good morning. But Good Morning Sunday Morning it's a tribute to Virginia Woolf and Emily Dickinson.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And near rhyme and flat rhyme.
Oh, beautiful. That's so wonderful. Yeah. I mean, my only problem with Nancy Pelosi is that she's not the literal president. If she was the president, oh my God, I mean, everything would be so amazing. We would be, there would be no problems anymore.
There would be, first of all, I mean... goes without saying, there would be no racism. There would be no sexism.
Sexism, right. Italians would feel free.
Italians would finally feel free.
First time.
Yeah,
right.
We would be eating our spaghetti.
Right, like without feling.
Yeah.
Without feeling persecuted.
Because you guys do that, but you just feel in threat. You feel unsafe when you do that. But now, yeah.
The only person that I love more than Nancy Pelosi is... It's today we have to celebrate a very, very special person because do you guys know what this anniversary is that we're celebrating?
I don't want to. I would rather give you the space to tell us that.
Okay. Today is the 3-year and 2-month anniversary of the greatest comedy special of all time, Nanette
Oh my God.
Oh, wait, 1 second before we, I just want to, like, if we could hold the space for, like, literally 1 minute, I just want to also give Nancy Pelosi, like, Slay Queen cred for when she clapped. I don't know, like, probably the most disruptive feminist. It was, like, the closest thing that we've seen to direct action that any elected Speaker of the House has ever done.
When she did her weird little clap.
You say weird little clap because I think that some of the misogyny that's rampant in our society has rubbed off on you.
That's true.
I would say that clap of liberation and defiance, that was basically the 21st century equivalent of chaining yourself to a fence to protest segregation or putting yourselves together in front of like, a nuclear stockpile, basically just right in front of the A-bomb. What she did there, what's funny is that if you're not woke, if you're asleep at the wheel, if you will, you'd look at that clap and just be like, oh, Nancy Pelosi is just like co-signing Donald Trump. But like, if you look closer and you do the work that so many of our feminist sisters have done, you see almost immediately that her clapping is actually disruptive and she's clapping back. She's clapping back at Donald Trump.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is so layered.
I mean, clapping first, I think, is violence. That's why I always snap.
Right. But right. Yeah. I mean, it was a little ableist that she did anything that makes a sound. I prefer when people just wave their hands. Then I prefer the snapping and then the clapping, but within the very like confines of the audio normative structure in which we find ourselves, she's not going to reinvent the wheel. So I just thought the clap back was like similarly every time you clap that way at Trump, an undocumented woman is freed.
That's right.
And child is freed from a cage.
And the same thing happened when Nancy Pelosi
ripped up the speech.
When she ripped up the speech.
Yes.
And then also just when she wore that wool coat and sunglasses.
Yes.
That was, it's MLK.
Fashion.
It's MLK's I Have a Dream speech.
It's It's I Have a Dream speech. It's like I have a dream coat.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a dream sunglasses. I have a dream pair of sunglasses. I totally agree. And I almost feel like it's almost like Malcolm. Well, yeah, but you're right. And then the ripping of the speech is like Malcolm X level,
right.
Anti-racist discourse, like almost Kendi.
Yeah, or like my personal favorite, Robin DiAngelo.
Robin DiAngelo,
I mean, just really,
I mean, she and Robin D. I mean, I'm glad you said that. I didn't want to make
to center a white woman.
Yeah. Well, no, that's kind of inevitable when we're talking about our slay queens. It just happens to be, Nancy and Hillary. But I didn't want to go to the like Italian, all Italians are the same. So I want to thank you for stepping in there and mentioning D'Angelo, not the singer.
All right. Well, can we honor this anniversary now?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's been 3 years and 2 months since comedy was revolutionized.
Invented.
Oh, I thought halted. I thought it was like stopped. Well, isn't this interesting? Three different people like have different, that's the power of, right.
No, it's like she invented a new form of stand-up comedy.
She slayed an old form. She slayed. And gave birth to another one.
And she did, and you know how she did it? She's such a genius. She wrote a full hour of material and then removed all of the jokes.
Wow.
And that is revolutionary.
I mean, to me, like, centering jokes in comedy,
is phallic a little bit.
It's phallic.
Very phallic.
It's ableist like towards Italians who are not funny.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Loud. I mean, because, Italians, you shouldn't have to be funny to get stage time.
Right.
You can just be loud.
No, I wish Hannah Gadsby were here right now. Like, I just...
Would you give her, like, an honorary bowl of spaghetti and meatballs?
I would elect Hannah Gadsby the president of the United States.
And Italy.
Yes. I would elect Hannah Gadsby the president of the United States of Italy.
Oh,
And of you could, I mean, look, I think like think global, act local. I mean, I think we could definitely get like a street named after her in Little Italy.
No. Nancy Pelosi / Hannah Gadsby 2024.
Yeah. That was like that was so female of me. No, that's not the right. That was so problematic of me. You know how like Pantene, like despite its capitalist nature as a hair shampoo company, like they really did they like paused and caused us to notice the propensity of women to apologize. And right there, what I was doing was I was being the accommodating, self-effacing, I was not claiming my time.
Yeah.
Reclaiming my time. I wasn't claiming my space on stolen land. That's probably why. So shout out to myself for not doing that part. But I needed to reclaim something because I needed to demand that she be the president of the United States of Italy. And what I did there is I went straight to the compromise, which is like, how many women do that?
I mean, actually,
right?
Nancy, Hannah, Kamala, 3-way ticket.
To like Nirvana, like what would like a non-problematic heaven, reappropriated Nirvana be? Like 3 tickets to paradise? That's also like Judeo-Christian.
I don't know, but it's just like I want to live in a world where like Hannah, Nancy, Kamala are president. Like just think about it. Like Kamala comes, she arrests all the men. Okay, which is like amazing. Then Nancy Pelosi claps back.
Wait, I just want... Okay, yeah.
And then we all sit down and digest the greatest comedy of all time.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Julia, I heard you're like, you were trying to speak up and you were like sandwiched between 2 louder ethnic women. So what were you going to say that Kamala was going to arrest the men for?
You know, for carrying less than 1 ounce of marijuana on their person.
I thought you were going to say for like not taking their kids to school, which is something else that we should really son and daughter salute Kamala for, because her truancy, you know, while some people think that it's problematic to arrest people for not bringing their kid to school one day and it's criminalizing poverty, that is something that I think it's easy to say when you're a straight white man, and it's a lot harder to see when you're not.
Yeah.
Which is why there are no progressive women of color in the world.
Yeah, this is rocking my world right now. Yeah.
There are none. And I really do think that people who, you know, accuse Kamala of perpetuating the standard of criminalizing poverty need to check their privilege.
Yeah, totally. Because they're actually, the biggest criminals. Well, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. I cede the floor to you.
I just wish
you yield your time. I'll reclaim your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I'll reclaim your time to say I wish I yield my time to Hannah Gadsby and Kimberly Crenshaw, neither of whom is here, but yet they're both here.
Yeah.
On stolen land.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Hannah, is that you? What? Are you there, God?
Are you there, God? It's me, Kate and Kate.
Thought I heard my name.
Oh my gosh.
Were you talking about how I revolutionized stand-up comedy?
We were saying that. That is so amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you did to end sexism by having a Netflix special.
Oh, thank you. You know, you don't need jokes in a special. That's what everyone thinks, but you don't. Yeah. You just need to talk about Picasso and Van Gogh.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's just like, you know, I would say that it is violence to mention the name of either of those men, especially without a trigger warning. But like, I just, you know, I mean, from you, Queen, anything.
Anything, yeah, from you, Queen. So,
is the term queen too gendered? I apologize.
It is a little gendered for my taste, but
Queen. That's Queen and King.
That's better.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to thank you. I can't see you, but from your voice, I think I want to thank you for like introducing American audiences to crocodiles.
Oh.
I think that's like really important.
Hannah, okay, so if we elected you the president, what would be like your first stuff that you did?
Okay. Well, first of all, self-deprecating humor would be completely illegal because
I love making speech illegal. That's like my favorite thing.
self-deprecation is just self-humiliation, and it's actually quite violent. But the thing is that a lot of people don't see it like that, and that in and of itself is a privilege.
Wow, I never really thought about the privilege of laughing at something. Wow, I'm gonna never do that again.
Wow.
I just want to push back on that a little bit on 2 counts. One is that as an Ashkenazic woman, Ashkenazis are statistically the most self-deprecating. So you're just going to want to maybe like examine that a little bit and unpack that. Also, I think that's kink shaming because the suggestion is that violence is never basically, it's a erasure of Jews and BDSM participants. It's a erasure of BDSM culture and or Jewish culture, Ashkenazic, not Mizrahi. And of course, I shouldn't say those things like they're mutually exclusive because there's a rich BDSM Ashkenazic culture. So it is basically, I just like want to invite you to interrogate whether you agree with me that it's problematic on those 2 counts. And as a Jewish woman, I can't speak for BDSM. But I can say I'm ambivalent about BDS.
Okay, well...
But that's another issue.
There's a lot to unpack there. I just want to remind you that I'm a lesbian woman from Tasmania, and that basically makes me a white Aboriginal. So I would invite you to check your own privilege. But I will, of course, internalize everything that you've just said.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
That is so beautiful, Hannah. You just really have showed me like a whole new way of like opening to my own growth and like leveling up, like I wish that like you could be the president and that I could also get therapy from you, not to ask you for free emotional labor.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you tracked yourself on that, Kate, because I was about to intervene and disrupt that.
Yeah.
I feel like you're saying you're opening up to your own growth. I feel like I'm growing to my own openings.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been spending this whole summer centering my openings. Yeah.
I've been opening my center.
Yeah.
My chakra. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works out.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, this conversation, it feels a bit phallic in nature. So I'm gonna skedaddle. If that's all right.
Okay, but Hannah, all right. So let me push back on this by calling
really
us.
Push back after she said it was phallic. I don't want to penetrate that too deep. Oh, sorry.
Well, I just feel like
I don't even know. Words are just violent.
By implying that the phallic language is not welcome in this feminist space, aren't we potentially being turfy? Hannah, have you thought about that?
Right? I haven't, and that's really something that I need some perspective on, and I guess I'll have to go read some theory, not the socialist kind, but the good kind,
the misogynist kind.
So I do have a question for you. Given the subject matter of this podcast and your outstanding advocacy for the LGBT community, for literally every single member of it, where do you fall on having a same-sex relationship with your father? How can we support and celebrate being, as some might more colloquially say, being gay with your dad?
Oh, okay. Being gay with your dad is something that I've never given much thought to, and that's really my own.
Yeah.
That's my privilege. So I want to acknowledge that. But I think ultimately we just have to support each other. That's really all I'm going to say about that.
Wow. That's really beautiful.
I feel like you didn't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was just really moved by that.
Yep, that's how I revolutionized stand-up comedy.
I love watching stand-up comedy and crying at the same time. I mean, it's like, if you're not crying, you're not paying attention.
That's right.
I agree. And if you're not paying attention, then you're not crying. So it's like full circle.
I feel like this is like a little bit ableist towards people with ADHD, but all right.
Well, also it's very, like, not everyone has tear ducts that are fully functioning.
Not everyone even has eyes.
That's true, and it's actually a myth that you should be laughing during a comedy special. So that's something that we really need to deconstruct, I think, as a society.
Yeah, that. It's like the founding fathers mythology and laughing during comedy.
Right.
I mean, are both such toxic mythos.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've just learned so much from you and Lin-Manuel. That's what I like to call him.
Yes, he and I are very much the same in many ways. We are both Latinx, yes.
Yeah.
And I say that in the broadest sense of the word, but in the sense of the word nonetheless.
Well, like, I mean, I think that English has a lot of Latin roots to it. And I think that, if we just like zoom out, we see that so does, Australian white people are so diverse. I mean, I've never met an Australian white person who isn't like 1,000 different things all together.
That's right.
Like Northern Ireland, a little bit to the south of that part in Northern Ireland, people even from the lands of South Ireland.
Right.
Some people from England. I mean, it's like hard to keep track of the cultural richness and diversity of white Australians.
That's right.
Hannah, okay, I know that this question is going to be like a little triggering, but given this is, the feminist podcast, Calm Down, like, what is your top reason why we should cancel Calm?
Well, I've never interacted with it personally, but I think because it is its trajectory is quite violent. I find its viscosity rather kind of transphobic, I'll say.
Yeah, it's even though it's fluid, it's at the same time its viscosity interrupts its fluidity.
That's right. It clearly exists in a binary world, and I want to abolish binaries. So
I want to abolish Calm.
Well, that is within your right.
I want to calm abolition.
That's right.
Calm abolition. I'm a calm abolitionist. Yeah.
No, I want to calm abolition. It's different. We can talk about it later. I'm not really ready to talk about it publicly, but you're not picking up what I'm putting down. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay. I just feel like, yeah. Hannah, it has been so amazing to just chat with you about such a really wide-ranging, just like a really wide-ranging,
girth.
Yeah, it's just been like so beautiful. And like, I'm just super glad to hear that, that you are a calm abolitionist, that we're totally on the same page about supporting having same-sex relationships with your father.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for having me on to talk about Calm and, as I said, revolutionizing stand-up comedy.
Thank you so much.
Stand-up comedy.
All right, you guys. Well, this has just been like such a beautiful experience. I just feel like so grateful to have shared with you both. And, I just like, just like to all of our listeners that are just like out there struggling, with wanting to be in a same-sex relationship with your father, just like go ahead, make the move. Like, just we love you, we accept you, we're here for you.
This is Julia again. I just wanted to say that I took some time for myself over the last few minutes to.
Did you do self-care?
To do self-care, and
radical self-care.
Radical self-care. That's the only kind I choose to practice.
Right.
And I just want to say in support of what Kate said regarding being gay with your dad. Say yes to life and say yes to love.
I'm really sorry that my cat is yelling. This is actually, he's the male cat and he's toxically masculine. So he's just constantly interrupting me during the podcast. But
he's trying to silence women.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, love trumps hate.
Wow.
Like, at the end of the day.
Wow.
I want to say I'm here. I'm queer. I'm really sorry for all the ways that I have not unpacked my privilege.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we did so much work here today. We did
really,
so much important work.
Emotional labor, unpaid
emotional labor,
which is why we should direct everyone towards the Feminist Come Down Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Also, Cash App, Venmo. I guess I'm really beautiful.